All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order, the September 8th, 2021 of the Franklin Township Trails Committee. I'm Jim Kuligowski, Chairman.
Vanessa Jones, Vice Chair.
Chuck Martin, Secretary.
Tom Lewis, member.
Anne Marie's here. Is John here?
John can't make it tonight. He's on vacation.
Okay.
Mark Fortin, member.
Okay, you're on. Okay, good. All right. The approval of the August 2021 minutes. Did people have a chance to read them? They just came out today. I just noticed one typo, but other than that, any additions?
Looked good to me.
Wow, I was suspecting. I did those in a rush. I was not sure.
No, they were good.
Thank
Just,
you.
Chuck, just the typo, you just changes 6C, you had Butler Road trains. I don't think there's any trains on Butler Road. Unless I got
I'm glad there aren't. So thank you.
That's it. That's the only thing I caught. Other than that, I think they're good too. All those in favor, make a motion. Who would like to make a motion to approve the August 11th Trail Committee minutes?
I make a motion
Okay,
to approve
Tom.
the minutes.
Okay. All those in-
Seconded.
Seconded.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. All right, public comment. No, that's August 11th. I'm sorry. Public comment, yep. Tara, is there anyone on the, Tara, anyone there from the public?
Sorry,
Bill is
just for the,
here. We'll say
just for the
hello. Hi,
record.
Bill.
Oh,
just for
what's
the
all-
record, in case it matters, I abstain because I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't vote for the minutes.
Okay, thank
I
you.
don't know if that needs to be recorded differently. Normally you record for and against and abstentions.
Okay,
Got it.
thank you. That's good, yeah. To clarify that, that is good. All right, Tara, anyone from the public?
So Bill is here. Bill Bowman. Hi, Bill.
Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. I have nothing.
Thanks for making it official, Bill.
It's official.
Did you do okay in the flood and everything? No problem?
We were fine. Yeah, no problem.
Good. Okay, good. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
So you're just listening, nothing to say yet?
Yep,
Okay.
that's it then.
Do we want to work on the pathways and trails or skip over to new business, old business, and save the pathways for the end? Is that okay?
My
Sure.
vote is for starting with the PTP, of course, but I may be the only one.
Well, we haven't worked on it for 2 or 3 months, so if we want to start working on it, we can.
Yeah,
All right, so it's about 7:12. Why don't we work on it till 8 o'clock? That'll be the 45 minutes.
all right.
Great.
All right. So, pathways and trails plan. Okay, so the last, let me get the most updated version. Chuck, did we ever discuss the additions that you proposed? Did we do that?
Gosh,
Yes,
I-
we did it. The last time we did this, yes, we did.
I believe we did, and I believe they were approved by the
Okay.
committee.
All right, so we talked about that. So we then, okay, let me then go back to appendix. So because of Chuck's additions, I think we're done with appendix 2. Let's just double check, which is it's like really the recommendations for new trails and enhanced trails. So give me, you know what, I'm going to share it just to make sure we can all see it. Screen. What am I doing here? Share. Okay, all right. So this is appendix 2, and we were going through each one. All the notes are in here, so I can clean this up. I just want to get to the bottom and make sure, but I'm pretty sure that we ended it with, if anyone had extra recommendations, send them in. And Chuck sent in a bunch, and we talked about adding them in. So let's just make sure here. I have yours as a separate document, Chuck, just so you know. Yeah,
Okay.
so we finished appendix 2. Chuck's recommendations were approved to go in. Did anyone have any other recommendations that they wanted to add to this. It doesn't mean it's the end all be all basically at this point, but does anyone have anything off the top of their head that they want to add in for new trail connections or segments?
I do not.
Okay. All right, so let me write this down. So Appendix 2, I can now like take it and I can start, taking the notes I have here and turning them into maps and like sentences, full sentences that make sense if that works for everybody. And then I can present that at the next meeting, like a completed draft copy.
Certainly.
Okay. All right, I'm just taking a note, make maps.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's close that for right now. So we already did the vision and goals a while back. I think the last time we left off was here. This was like the one chapter that we were trying to decide if we should. These are my notes, so just bear with me 1 minute here. Okay. All right, these are notes. So there's a chapter in, let's look at the final because I just want to show you what the difference is. So I'm sorry, I gotta
So
move this
did we
up.
skip over, because you just said we finished Appendix 2, but there's Appendix 3, 4, and 5 before we get to 6 and 7.
There is. So Appendix 3 and 4 and 5 are all, Colonial Park. Well, let's go look at it just in the safe side, but 6 Mile Run, and then it's not like they're not like under our purview. So I think I just want to let me go back here. Appendix 3, 4, and 5. Let's look and see what they have here. Sorry, I'm just trying to like get my what was that? Appendix 5. Okay. That's Appendix 2 still. I recognize that. All right, Appendix 3. So yeah, it's just reprints from this is a reprint from the county's plan.
Okay, do we have an updated version of a more up-to-date county plan for that section?
No, the county hasn't actually updated their open space plan since the original one. However, their preservation plan, which is an update to the farmland, open space, and historic plans, the final draft is becoming available for public comment. So I did sign up to go to the October 5th meeting. So there will be an update then, but as of right now, this is the most recent from the county.
Tara, what was the plan they had, like the bike, hike, run, the county, what was that plan?
That was the bike, hike, and run. Hold on, ignore I was getting pants for my son before. Bike, hike, and I think it's walk plan, Somerset County. That was funded through a grant from the New Jersey NJ Transportation Planning Authority. So they walk, bike, and hike plan. That's what it is. So they looked specifically at trail connections, biking ways, road design changes. Where's the whole report here? So yeah, we can incorporate that into here for sure. If I can find.
I remember there being, definitely there's a chunk of Franklin Township included in this plan, I believe.
There is, yeah. So they have this design book. Let's see if they have these are all public meetings.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think we want to fatten up our plan by just copying stuff here, but a reference to those things or a mention.
Yeah, so this
Would
is
be
their map
useful.
with the existing trails in it, and then this is Franklin. So I mean, this is a one-page map that we could put in and highlight, Franklin in there. So they have the on-street bicycle, the pedestrian trails, and the multi-use. This might be a useful map to put in our plan, or a reference to it at least.
Yeah, a reference to it. I mean, because this is far more than the township, and we want to focus on the townships. This is the township pathway and trails plan.
Yeah, Mark, I was just thinking about the overlap, the part of this county plan that includes Franklin would make sense to reference to if we want to.
Yeah, I agree. A reference to, I think, is a great idea.
Okay, so I can also go through, I went to that meeting, it was a long time ago, so I can go through and see where we can add, some of their recommendations for Franklin into our plan as well. We can look at that. So that's one idea. Bicycle level of traffic stress map. I just want to see what this is. Level of traffic stress. Bicycle level is a metric used to quantify a cyclist's potential comfort level given the current conditions of the roadway and surrounding context. Okay, so referencing like this map, is this, do you think, like, is this a good reference map to have in here, or is, or not so much?
I'm not sure.
It
Yeah.
seems a bit, yeah, I mean, we can, links to it maybe, or just a mention of it, but let them do their map and we do our map, I think.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
least
so-
that map's kind of busy.
I would
Yeah,
agree.
that is. Let's see what they got here. So this is
Yep.
mapped by town, so give it a sec. This is gonna load up. So we can definitely, yeah, make a reference to this plan, and there might be other areas that we can just kind of like use them as a citation in a text. So we'll go down to the Franklin specific ones.
And just reading through the prior Appendix 3 for us, that's a reprint. It talks, the reprint is primarily focused on the Howe farmstead. And that's already been, like, they talk about it in what they plan or hope to do with it, and it's already been acquired, developed, and converted into athletic fields, so it's way out of date.
Yeah, so we can, so remove Appendix 3 basically, since it's no longer relevant.
Or update it, update it with the references to this new bike walk plan and any other updates from the county. Do they, just like this one was a future looking appendix talking about a potential acquisition and what to do with it. Now that it's over, we can close the chapter on that and put something else in.
Yeah,
That's the next thing that the town and the county would be looking to do together. I don't know which piece that is necessarily, but I would think that everything's not completed yet. If there are mentions of things in this bike, walk, hike, the one that Vanessa's
Yeah.
pointing out.
okay, so that's easy enough to do. I can just go, we can go through that, and I could come up with suggestions of what can go in there based on those maps. Appendix 4 is also a reprint from the New Jersey Trails Plan, about 6 Mile Run. So if there's an updated version of this, do we want to keep that in, or what's the thought there? Let me
I would agree if there's an updated version.
NJ Trails Plan, see. Let's see what they got here.
Is there still even a Friends of 6 Mile Run group? That's referenced in this appendix, but if they don't exist anymore, that doesn't seem to be, again, it needs updating.
Yeah. All right, so here's the map from the New Jersey Trails Plan of 6 Mile Run. When the heck was this done? Let's see. Last updated 2016. Okay.
Well, it's 10 years after this plan.
Yeah. All right, so we can, yeah, this is easy enough. We can, okay, so we can update, that's Appendix 4. Update with 2016 plan info. Okay.
They say
I'm sorry, is
Yeah.
that Appendix 4 or Appendix 3?
The 6 Mile Run is Appendix 4.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Appendix 3 was the reference to the Somerset County wide plans.
Yes,
It's
basically.
specific
yeah.
references to county plans involving Franklin Township. Is that,
Yeah,
that's Appendix 3, okay.
that's what it's good. Appendix 3 is going to become that. Yes.
Okay, so Appendix 4,
the
6 Mile
second
Run.
paragraph of the current Appendix 4 has a proposed trail system with a 20-foot wide corridor, a mowed grass surface trail system anticipated to be over 37 miles long. Is that still the plan? Is most of it now in place? I mean, there are mowed grass field edge trails throughout 6 Mile Run. So does that mean it's done? And is there a new up-to-date vision here, or are they still envisioning more mowed field edge trails?
let me see. They had a summary here. Let's see if they talk about it. Oh, no, they just talk about the existing trail here. I don't know. I'd have to look and see what the most up-to-date plan is for that.
Okay. And,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like the last statement again just says, Friends of 6 Mile Run is leading the way in support of developing a trail system. I don't, does Friends of 6 Mile Run, is that still a viable entity that exists and is doing this work, or has it changed to somebody else?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into it and see. But that's stuff I can look into. Yeah.
Yeah, and this document was created pretty recently, so I'm hoping that it is current.
An active group. Okay. Yep.
Well,
So how does this differ from trails that are established through the state park?
It isn't. It's
I
a
mean,
statement
6
of
Mile
their.
Run is basically the state park.
That's right. It isn't, but it's an indication of what they intend to do. So it's within the boundaries of Franklin. So the intent was to provide an appendix so that people, if they were looking at Franklin stuff and said, well, what's going on in Franklin? We referenced things that weren't necessarily directly in our control, but were within the township boundaries that were trails. So if there's an up-to-date plan from the state indicating what the future holds for 6 Mile Run, then perhaps we should include that, right? Or at least reference it.
Yes.
Because it just seems currently I mean, it says they talk about the future, we anticipate mowed field edge trails. Well, we all know most of us have been there. They have them. So does that mean this is done and that they have some new vision, or it's just now in a maintenance mode? What is it, right? Does this appendix still belong here? Or
Yeah.
there is no future plan and we're at the end ultimate point of what they anticipate doing for 6 Mile Run. That may be the case. I just don't know, right? But it doesn't seem right to continue to include the old information that seems to be out of date. So
Yeah, it looks like just from looking on the DEP website that the most recent up-to-date New Jersey Trails Master Plan is from March 2009, which is this. So let's see if I can find 6 Mile Run in here.
And by the way, I was there yesterday, and most of all the wood footbridges that I saw had washed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. All right.
That 6 Mile Run.
Yeah, the white trail to the red trail, that loop off of Jacques. Yeah, the three bridges, like 3 wood bridges I saw floated off. One I didn't even see where it went. 2 of them were nearby.
Are those bridges maintained by the biking?
Yeah, I think they're Jorba bridges. The Jersey
right.
Off-Road Bike Association.
The bike association built and maintains those bridges?
Yeah, in partnership, that they have permission from, the state park. But
State park, right, okay.
All right, so I will go through this 2009 plan though, just to see if there's anything relevant. But now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, so Appendix 3 originally was about one potential project that has since been completed at the county. Appendix 4 is about a potential project or upcoming projects for 6 Mile Run, and then Appendix 5 has to do with the Millstone, New Brunswick Railroad right-of-way. So what I'm basically,
yeah,
long
if you
story
just
short-
if you could scroll back to the Appendix 4 start, just I want to point out some more stuff there. There's a link there at the top. Don't bother with that one, folks. That's now a no longer page found.
Okay.
Bad link. So that's gone. So it leads me to believe, yeah, that this is all, hopefully there's some new information out there, but this is all out of date.
Yeah.
And needs
So
to be
what I'm
revisited.
wondering though is instead of having the Appendix 3 be just about one thing related to the county and 4 just be about 6 Mile Run, I'm wondering, should we change Appendix 3 to be like important connections that we make with the county or how county lands play into Franklin Township or vice versa. Appendix 4 can be that same thing, but regarding like the state or maybe it's just 6 Mile Run, and then Appendix 5 is I guess that would
I'm
be
fine. I'm fine with it being county and state if there's more to provide information about than just Colonial Park and 6 Mile Run.
there definitely is. If we use the walk, bike, and hike plan, there definitely is. So we can make Appendix 3 instead of just about like Colonial Park. We can like do a quick overview of county lands in Franklin Township and how we connect trails to them and how we work with them, etc. And then Appendix 4 can be the same thing at the state level.
Sounds
I
good.
like that. Yeah, I like that idea.
It's a little more inclusive. And then Appendix 5 was about, I'm just going to scroll. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, this Millstone, New Brunswick Railroad right of way.
And Tara, did you say the county is updating their plan, or do you know if?
Yeah, the county is updating, so their open space plan goes back to 2001. The farmland plan was relatively recent, but it's time for those farmland plans to be updated. And the historic plan was pretty outdated as well. So they are making a preservation plan, and it's kind of divided into sections: open space, farmland, historic, and then there will be a chapter referencing how each one kind of overlaps or creates obstacles for the other. So it's a larger document. The final draft is available pretty soon, I think. And then there was meetings you can sign up for to kind of like, listen what's going on and give feedback. So I'll be at that one on October 5th, and I'll let you all know, how it relates to us. But we'll be able to use that one.
And for the state, the most recent one is 2009, and you have no idea whether that's being updated or not.
Well, for the state, the New Jersey Trails Master Plan, the most recent one is 2009. But let's see, maybe they have New Jersey. What do they call that? They call it the state. It's like state comprehensive. It's like SCORPA, comprehensive open space and recreation plan. Let's see when that was done. Because that one they actually do update relatively. Okay, so the New Jersey statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, this one's very current, 2018 to 2022, and it was drafted in April 2018. So maybe there might be some information in here that I'm not sure, I have to look through, but there might be some that we can take for our plan too.
Okay.
So I'll look at that also. Oh, trail grant requests. So they have a section about trail grant requests, state land funding. So I'm sure there's stuff in here that we can look at. So yeah, I can add that too, if that works for everybody. Nothing about 6 Mile Run, but okay. So if everyone's good with that, I can like kind of try and get some notes together and see how we can incorporate all these things simply into those appendices.
Thank you, Tara.
All right.
Yeah, thanks.
And then I'm just taking a note here. What's this one? Okay, so Appendix 5 was this Millstone, New Brunswick Railroad right of way.
Yes, it was. It was a big, multi-page, painfully dealt with situation with lots of public hearings and a lot of angry, occasionally angry or unhappy people in the discussions. But we got there, and I think we generally managed to make some folks happy with it, but I don't think we're going to go anywhere near still what we had originally proposed in here. So I think it's time to replace this with, I don't think we should just eliminate it and make it go away and pretend it never happened. But I don't see any public will or even will in the committee to try and implement what's been recommended in this plan from 2008. So
Okay, so, all right, so we have
that
to,
right there, that map, don't go past it. That is what had been proposed. Um, of course, it's not great, not easy to see on your screen, but that's
Let
what's
me-
proposed. Um,
oh,
and the idea was that instead of going along Smith Street, where the old railroad bed is, it would cut through from South Middlebush Road over to Van Cleef, following that, basically that pinkish purple line. But I still don't, I think, my opinion is we're probably, even myself, I don't feel that that'd be a lot of fuss and bother for that little section and when we don't even know if we're going to get the rest of the 6 mile, not the 6 mile run right of ways, and nothing's moved on that to continue the north-south trail parallel to South Middlebush. And right now, I think the last time I was at a meeting, there was some pretty positive discussion about the possibility of finishing and we talked about it in this pathway and trails plan to finish the Van Cleef bike path all the way to Blackwell's Mills Road. So in my opinion, finishing that and then cutting over in some way, shape, or form to parallel South Middlebush and do that could be the alternative north-south trail. It doesn't have to parallel South Middlebush so closely. It could parallel South Middlebush by paralleling Van Cleef or going along Van Cleef. From a technical geometric standpoint, it, I guess, would still be considered in parallel.
right, okay. So I guess this section then, so this is so if that's a project that we want to look at and map out, like we did the other projects, should it become part of like another project that we add to Appendix 2?
No, I think this was called out, separately, and I think we can't just make it disappear and fold it away like it and try and hide it. That, like, to me, that feels like we're stuffing it under the rug. To me,
Well, I
we
mean,
keep
is it a
this
is it like
this
a
section
high?
and talk about what we're going to do instead now that we've revisited it 13 years later, and that we don't, this is just me spouting my opinion right now, but that what's the feasibility of making this happen? I mean, really, what is? I'm just asking now. What do we? I don't see any way we're going to get a whole bunch of people excited and on board about cutting across the edge of the preserved farm fields from South Middlebush over to Van Cleef and behind the neighborhoods over there. I don't see that happen.
Mark, this isn't the same conversation we had about the rails to trails going from that Smith Road area going towards New Brunswick, is it?
Kind of. I mean, this goes behind all those Smith Road houses. That's what this was all about.
Okay.
That this section was all about what to do
I was
with
very
this
interested in having
narrow,
trails.
yeah, this was all about what to do with this narrow section that the township had purchased through the Open Space Trust Fund. That was the former Millstone rail bed and had been purchased for a long time and what ran very close to those houses behind Smith Road.
But then some of the segments were sold, correct? Like some of the, so it doesn't, it's
That
not.
was on the other side. That was on the side across Amwell Road going towards Elizabeth Avenue. Smith Road dead ends at Amwell Road with a couple of bollards
Yeah.
and a guardrail. It's on that side that we're talking that side. We're talking the east side of Amwell, not the west side.
Okay.
The other houses, if you drive on Amwell Road heading towards East Millstone, where like the garage that was flooded, that Bill had those great, sad but very good photos of all the various flooding over where the Amwell Road bridge crosses over Millstone River. That's the section where people bought that. That's not even, it's now private hands. That's all gone. All those big houses along Amwell Road they most of those bought those behind the dog park and Colonial Park and the golf course. That's gone. But the part behind Smith Road which it runs from South Middlebush, between South Middlebush and Amwell, that's still township purchased property.
Got it. Hmm.
So
But right,
let's see
this
here.
is,
Yes,
you're
I
right,
think
this
you,
is a preserved farm here.
yeah, I think that's what you got. So the idea
Yeah,
was to run, and can I draw on this or something, or no? I don't know.
I think so, yeah, just let me, I think I have to stop sharing my screen.
So this,
Uh,
so if you see that Archana Nirityala,
Yep, here.
does everybody see that right there? That narrow strip under the letters that runs from South Middlebush to Amwell, that narrow strip is the old railroad bed. Yeah, that one right there.
This,
That
okay,
B75 L14 is your railroad bed. And
got
we
it.
own it. And we own that. So the idea, the thought back in the day was to use that. Well, that met with a significant amount of opposition from the neighbors, no surprise. And so the proposal was instead to go along the other, there's a blue line that tees into that in the middle there, that railroad bed,
Right,
right? So that intersect, the idea would be to follow that and then follow the field edge somewhere and get over to Van Cleef that way, using the railroad bed as a buffer, not as the actual trail, but to run it along the inside of that. And then when it got to the middle there of that white line, then run it over to South Middlebush that way. That's what you'll see in that purple line in the Pathway Trails plan.
mm.
So sort of a,
So who owns this one then? Let me see.
no idea.
Uh, that's 9, right? Okay, yep.
But I just think
Which?
we're going to open the same nest of bees we did the last time. I don't think this is going to get any better. And frankly, we don't know if we're going to be able to even
Yeah,
run the trail. If we're, that the intent of the north-south trail was to try and do something that paralleled South Middlebush Road. To
well,
connect,
yeah, oh, go ahead.
to connect the north end to the south end in a non-motor vehicle fashion. I mean, we've seen people on South Middlebush Road biking and walking, and that's kind of crazy considering how little of a shoulder there is or anything else. So
Yeah. Now
that was
these
the point.
these two are both preserved farms. So
Okay.
getting a trail through these, I don't think this is gonna be possible at this point anyway.
He's not saying through, he's just talking about down that dividing line, right?
Yeah,
Not
but I
like
mean,
all-
I don't know. Would they even allow, like you're saying, because it's been preserved farmland, we can't do field edge trails anymore? Is that it?
Well,
It's off of,
because both are preserved. So this I knew, I wasn't sure about this one, but because both are preserved, you'd have to take land at some point from one of these properties, which the only way you can do that is through a condemnation. And I don't think there's ever been a condemnation approved by the state in terms of preserved farmland. So I don't think that's gonna work.
so there
So
it
because
is.
those are
It's,
preserved, we have to find like a way around it basically, or a different way, I should say.
right. So what is that different way going to be? I mean, does that mean there's not even an easement along South Middlebush along that preserved farm B7401 L9?
I'm sure there's a right of way easement because it's Amwell, so there's got to be at least like a 50-foot from center line. It's not shown on here, but I'm sure there's an easement along this curve, especially. Um,
No, not a, that's Amwell. Sorry, my bad. South Middlebush.
oh, South Middlebush. There should be a right of way easement. Yeah, they usually take out the 50 feet from center line, but um, hmm. I'm not sure about having it used as I'm not sure if it's just, I'd have to look at those deeds and see, are they designated for anything? Can they be used for trails? Because they're pretty specific with that, with the deeds.
Okay. I mean, it would be good because to just find out, because if it's not allowed, then why, it shouldn't probably have not been sitting in this pathway and trails plan for the last 13 years.
Yeah.
Because if we had known that, if the Trails Committee had been aware of that and that it was not a possibility because it's not an allowed use for the easement, then there's really no way to use these. So we shouldn't have drawn them up as a proposed draft.
Yeah.
But what we should do is address it and say, in my opinion, we should just continue to include Appendix 5, but say further research in the last, since the last time this plan was approved, has determined that this is no longer a viable route for these reasons. The easements
Right.
don't allow it, and the farmlands there are preserved, and so we can't get those properties without condemnation, which we're not going to pursue. We can't use that land that way. Okay, that's fine. Case closed.
Yeah. Not saying though that we can't try and come up with an alternate route and present that if anyone's interested in doing that.
Well, that's what I was presenting as a possibility. Is my proposal is we've already got the bike path paved from Amwell along Van Cleef. That's somewhat parallels South Middlebush Road. So it's already over there if you go look at, if we're talking about Van Cleef now. And that, if we are able to finish that and not have it just dead end halfway down Van Cleef, but get it all the way to Blackwell's Mills, we can pick up the discussion again about how to get the rest of the way down south from there. And we
Right.
could consider that the alternative. And that's what we could put into this Appendix 5 and propose that as well.
Yeah.
Didn't we
So-
work through the, come up with a plan that would include the entirety of Van Cleef Road?
Yes, and that's
and-
fine.
So at that point, could we consider running a trail through the state parkland over to, I want to say Sutphen, but
It's probably Jake's Lane.
Jake's Lane. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and frankly, that's exactly what was proposed ages ago when we first talked to the DEP, and that's what that whole draft proposal is about, is to do exactly that.
We have 14 minutes left in this section.
Okay, so the point is, right, I think we should include Appendix 5. I think we should update it to basically say the old route that had been suggested or considered as an alternative is not viable. The alternative, my suggested alternative, and it's just my opinion, is for this section of South Middlebush from Smith Road, on South Middlebush, from Smith Road to Jake's, or excuse me, from Smith Road to Blackwell's Mills Road, don't run it along South Middlebush, use the Van Cleef as the alternative. And we can just point to the part that we already wrote about and already had a discussion about in this group in an earlier discussion about the other appendix, and just reference back to that and say, that's going to take care of this section. And this section now will, the alternative to this Appendix 5 that originally existed is to go look at that. And for the part that goes south from Blackwell's Mills Road to Jake's Lane, we can mention the fact that we are in conversation or proposing something to DEP, and we could even reference the draft plan that's been submitted, right?
Well, this is something we have in Appendix 2 already, correct?
Which part?
From
Appendix
the,
2, we have the Van Cleef
Van
part,
Cleef.
yes. And
Van Cleef.
right, so we just referenced that, but I don't think we should make Appendix 5 magically disappear and not reference it anymore. As a point, I think to properly put a period at the end of the sentence, we should explain why we now why the original idea that was suggested is no longer viable, and now reference and say that the Van Cleef is the alternative, and please see Appendix 2 where we talk about it in further detail.
Well, but we wouldn't have to include all the details of Appendix 5, would we?
No, I'm saying replace Appendix 5, but keep Appendix 5 as a section, but replace it with
Well,
a statement
yes.
indicating why we are abandoning the original proposal from 2008.
Agreed. Agreed, that's fine. That's fine. Yep, okay. Yep.
So Can I ask, just a point of clarification? So, I get the Van Cleef part to Blackwell's Mills. I vaguely remember having a conversation, I might be wrong, that we were then talking about possibly, when you get to from Van Cleef to Blackwell's Mills, there is a section of the 6 Mile Run Trail that's not far from there. Are we thinking about connecting from there to the 6 Mile Run Trail, since we can't go down South Middlebush?
I think there's been a lot discussed. I don't know if we've determined we can't go down South Middlebush from that point. I don't think we've had enough. We've had some casual discussions. I do agree that things have been mentioned, but I don't know if we've ever really talked about now, how do we get from Blackwell's Mills to Jake's Lane? Can we do that along South Middlebush or not?
Okay,
Yeah,
I just assumed that those farmland shoulders would all have the same problem. Okay, that makes sense. So we need to look into all of those pieces.
Yeah, and if the North-South Trail is going to remain something we want to pursue, we eventually have to deal with the practicality of where it's going to go. Because the idea was to give us, I think a big idea was to give something further east so that people didn't have to go all the way to the canal. And the idea was to potentially allow for loops with the canal, right? That people could go the canal one way and turn around and go back the North-South Trail the other way or whatever.
Right.
So this piece here, okay, right. So this is, so you're talking, I just want to be clear, Vanessa, you're talking about using one of these parcels here, right?
We haven't talked about doing anything past Van Cleef in any formal way.
Right, but for this section, if you're talking about trying to get to Jake's Lane, I'm just wondering, is it worth
Well, yes,
taking a
Tara,
look at these?
yes, Tara, what I was saying is there is a spot off of Blackwell's Mills that the trail comes very close to.
Yep.
And so therefore, if we
Oh,
wanted
here.
to,
Right here?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
yeah, so like, that could potentially be a pretty easy, connect.
Yeah. Yeah,
in
because
fact,
you're
in
right.
fact,
If we
there's
could
a
make it
chained off
here.
entrance right at that intersection. There's a
So that's
chained
what
off
I'm
entrance.
saying, yeah. Is it
to-
worth putting in this section, since we have now made our way down to down to Blackwell's Mills? Is it worth mentioning that maybe we can somehow connect to this blue trail right here?
I certainly think it's a possibility. Is all of that space, because I see a farm there, I see a road there, and looking at your map, right? Is
Mhm.
everything inside the blue 6 Mile Run DEP property?
It is, yeah. So that
So
is,
this is the
yeah.
kind of stuff we would negotiate and talk about with DEP. What could we do if we crossed Van Cleef, or excuse me, crossed Blackwell's Mills at the intersection of Van Cleef? What could we do to get people over to the rest of that blue trail? Would they allow us to make the blue trail part of this? Could we consider changes to the surface material? Lots of questions to ask.
Yeah, we would
would
have to,
main-
basically what we would have to do is, if, not now, obviously, but if we're serious about it, one thing we would do is first figure out how are we getting down here. Once we get to the blue trail, we would have to try to enter some kind of like use agreement or memorandum of agreement with them about, us joining on to this. And those are all things we would talk about with them. Like, can we, what types of materials can we use? Who has to maintain this little area right here?
Yeah,
Why would
How
we need to
far can we
change it?
take it?
Why would we change the trail?
well, the idea was to provide a better finished trail, something more like the canal path, not to just leave it to be the idea was to hope, the past intention was potentially to be something people would like a somewhat common bicycle, maybe like a hybrid, not like a skinny tire road bike, but people could take and ride along relatively easily. Not serious mountain bikers and hardcore, mud
Well,
jumpers.
I'm not in favor of changing that trail. So, I mean, I think 6 Mile Run, you need to have like a nice mountain biking rugged trail too. So I'd like to also look at other options then, because I don't want to change that trail. That's just
Well,
personal.
maybe in the next 6 minutes, we should decide whether the north-south trail idea has any, I mean, because if it has no practical hope of making it anywhere, we should probably just throw it out and get it out of this PTP and make a statement to that. Because
I mean,
if we
but could we
can't put
also-
it anywhere, what's the point of talking about it in hazy pipe dreams? If we can't put it anywhere, there's no point.
Could we reimagine it possibly to not be a smooth trail, but a combination of smooth and mountain?
I think that takes it out of the intent of what the proposal was. It was supposed to be a trail accessible to all levels and types of persons and riders, so that it was usable, like the canal path. The intent was you could bring kids on kids bikes and older people on other bikes, and that it wasn't something that only hardcore mountain bikers from Jorba are going to be mowing you down on. That was the idea.
I like this idea too. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I do like it because this seems like an actual, like, this seems doable to me because of how close it is to the road. But again, I mean, it's just gonna take you on the blue trail and then where does it go?
The blue trail you can take towards the red trail, and then you have the metal bridge. Otherwise, you're gonna go to the canal parking lot, in which case you'd have to then either go up Jacques or hop on the red trail that's currently pseudo blocked off.
Yeah, I think in no way were we, I think all of the ideas we had, well, everything was trying to keep it closer to South Middlebush, but if that's not viable, the idea I think would be to try and get one to the Jake's Lane parking lot and not go down to Canal Road at all. Because once you're down to Canal Road, why are we at Canal Road? We got a canal path. There's no point.
Right. So we want to follow this blue trail this way. Let me just get my bearings here again.
Mark, I hear what you're saying, but I also think that like more routes from where people's homes are to get to the trails is also nice. You know, to kind of have safe ways to leave from your neighborhood and get there rather than having to put your bike on your car and driving and parking.
That's a good point. I'm just, which neighborhood are we talking about to try and feed to from here?
Well, you said it goes down Van Cleef. Where does it go beyond Van Cleef?
Well, that's the idea. The idea would be to go across, connect to that blue trail and get across the 6 mile run down to Jake's. So which housing areas are we trying to feed into from in between those two places?
Well, so you're saying the north-south trail, it starts on Van Cleef? I mean, that's as far.
No, the north-south trail connects Amwell Road, but Amwell Road, like where South Middlebush meets Amwell Road, ideally. That was the north-south trail was follow South Middlebush Road. That was the original intended spirit. But we keep running into roadblocks about what we can and can't do close to South Middlebush. So Van Cleef seemed an acceptable alternative that I'm proposing now. And then the question, though, would still, for me, would be try and still somehow push back further east and closer to South Middlebush Road, not go back towards the canal because we already have the canal path.
So okay, so then fine. So obviously people could go towards the canal if they wanted to, but
Absolutely.
ideally, based on what you're talking about, they would go the opposite way towards the metal bridge, then going to Jacques or Jake's.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the idea. So you would lose,
yeah.
you would only surface a section, you would only change the surface of a section going like where that blue trail almost hits Blackwell's Mills Road and get it over to Jake's Lane. You wouldn't necessarily take away everything from Jorba. You would just make one section that gets from that point to that point.
There's South Middlebush over there. Oh, right. You could follow that blue trail all the way to this red trail and end up right over here on South
Yeah,
Middlebush.
I wouldn't take that away. You'd follow the blue trail and then take the, I don't
The
know,
red.
red or white or just
Yeah,
whatever
think
you can
so.
do to get
And then you would
closer.
end up right here on South Middlebush.
Well, I keep thinking though, you don't want to wind up on South Middlebush given unless we could, I mean, if that section's an area where it's not preserved farmland and we could run a trail parallel to South Middlebush, I don't know. Nobody, that's something we haven't explored yet, right?
Let's see.
And
This
we probably won't do
property-
so in the next 1 minute, so.
Let me just see, this property is owned by, yeah, this is state property here too.
Okay, so there's possibilities where we could get back close to South Middlebush. That stuff I'm not as familiar with, so
Well, that would be
Yeah.
exciting.
Huh, that's an interesting possibility.
I don't think we'd want to make people cross South Middlebush if we can avoid it. That's a pretty unfortunate. I mean, we didn't we try and propose having a flashing light there and stuff, and we didn't even get that in the end.
Yeah, well, that trail from where you are, that leads to 27, so
Yeah, no,
it's
and but
not
the
really
point, right, that's
south.
going east, it's going east-west at that point. But the point is,
Right.
like, even if we could get, what the property that Tara highlighted is on the east side of South Middlebush, and everything where we're coming from so far in Van Cleef is on the west side of South Middlebush. So I'm trying to avoid
Oh, yeah.
the cross South Middlebush there, even if it's to parallel South Middlebush
Yeah,
on the east side. That doesn't seem like as good of an idea as trying to do it on the west side.
so this is also
Exactly.
owned, this property on the west side is also owned by the state.
Ah, now we're getting somewhere.
This here, 5812.
Just when it's getting exciting, 8 o'clock hits. I will shut up.
That area's,
I would love to hear people. I mean, this is food for thought. We really probably, this is something we should think about and talk about. Do we pursue it? Is Van Cleef a good alternative? Should we take outside? I've done almost all the talking here. I apologize, but maybe next time I'll shut up and now people have had a chance to cogitate on it.
Yeah.
But I think Appendix 5 needs to be reworked. I don't think the other one currently, as we proposed it 13 years ago in 2008, is practical anymore
Yeah.
for the reasons you pointed out. So now what do we do?
Quick question. I thought there was a north-south trail that was mapped out. Did that include the blue trail?
No,
Was
no, it was
by,
never
by
mapped
case?
out. It was never mapped out. It was always subject to what the proposal was what we would hear back from DEP. Well, 13 years later, we still haven't even had a conversation with DEP.
Right. We haven't
And,
had a
you know,
proposal.
so all of this it was to be determined, but we said it should happen. So I think we should either say it's not going to happen and that we no longer propose it, or here's how we're going to make it happen, because just leaving it TBD, it didn't go anywhere for 13 years.
All right, so maybe we address that next meeting.
Okay.
I probably think about it. Committee members think about it and see what you come up with for the next meeting.
And I
All right.
promise to keep my mute button on the next time.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we want to do though, is talk through things that make more sense. So that I think was a really good exercise.
And you have the historical perspective.
Yeah, I just know what we were trying to do, but what we were trying to do, I mean, there's some clear reasons why we can't do some of the things that were shown there, and things that I wasn't aware of. I didn't know that it was so hard to take back some section of preserved farmland to use for alternative purposes. And I didn't know about how the easements might not even allow for the types of uses we're talking about. So if both of those things are confirmed, then Appendix 5 probably should never have gone in the way it was written in the first place. So.
All
All right, let's move on. That's agenda item number 5. Thank you very much. That was a nice 45 minutes or 50 minutes, I guess.
47. Hey, easy. I wasn't that bad.
That's not you. Not you.
I'm teasing.
New business. Tara, update meeting and mowing at Grasslands.
Right. So I wanted to update everyone about the mowing and the basically it's the stewardship of the grasslands. So I think a while back we talked that we were going to meet on we ended up meeting at Negri to talk about mowing of the grasslands. So Anne Marie and Chuck came. We were there with Bob Puskis, Carl Hauk, the director of DPW. Chris Williams also came. I think that's it. But basically, we're trying to get a few different opinions about how to best treat the grasslands in the state they were in, and how we're going to go ahead with the prescribed burn and what we should do. So you've probably seen since then that the grasslands have been mowed. The decision, we did talk a lot about it. Everyone was free to state their opinions about why, mowing at a certain time is better for birds or insects, or is it better for trail goers? And how does that have to do with the prescribed burn? So there's a lot of different theories, but basically we did mow most of both properties. There's a grove, I guess is the correct term, I'm not sure, of milkweed at Negri that was saved, because we don't want to take that down. But basically now that it's been mowed, it's much more manageable. When we do the prescribed burn, it'll be, better and not as high, because when the fire service would come, they would end up mowing a lot of that anyway, because they won't burn it at that height. So we did mow a lot of it. I think we anticipated getting some complaints about it. Not too many, but there was, some concern about why did we mow it, and we waited until the nesting bird season was over. So, which is August 1st, right? Am I right? Or August 15th? August 1st. Yeah, August 1st. It was after August 1st. So, made sure the nesting bird season was over, but now it's much more manageable. It's one way of treating the invasives. Chuck was great enough to get a call, which I'll let Chuck talk about, but with a leader in the field who we presented our strategy to him, and he said that he thought that that was like a great approach, and that they've used that approach out where they are. So that was good. And then what we're going to do next, hopefully, is this prescribed burn. So I submitted all the applications a while back. George Effinger is still out west, so he should be back soon. And hopefully we'll be doing the prescribed burn on both properties this year in, between January and April. But Chuck, why don't you tell the group about the call we had with that professor? Because that was great.
Sure. I guess I'm not on mute.
You're good.
We set up a call with the herbarium director, first of all, but then with their land stewardship manager at Curtis Prairie, which is in the University of Wisconsin Arboretum. Curtis Prairie is the oldest running restored grassland in the United States, maybe in the world, in fact. And they have been said over 65 years ago, they restored an area of pasture to grasslands, experimenting with different methods to do the restoration, and they are pretty well known as the primary movers and experts in terms of grassland restoration. What they use is what's called an integrated pest management or an integrated grassland management system to do this. That's what they found works. And it involves not just one shot mowing or burning or pesticide application. It involves a continuous maintenance plan, which involves both burning, and not much of the burning, in fact, goes on. I would say most areas of that grassland are burned 2 out of every 3 years, every chance they get. They're also involve mowing in terms of removing invasives. They also use herbicide applications in order to take out invasives that you cannot remove by the mowing and burning processes. I thought it was insightful, and I think, I feel that we should strive to develop our own integrated management plan using these methods. The director said, we told them that we were basically going to use all these methods to attempt to restore and maintain our grasslands, and they thought that was the correct approach to use. Curiously enough, the grasses that we have tried to restore here are the ones, major ones that are also at Curtis Prairie. It turns out, from talking to somebody my colleagues, elder colleagues who are grass experts, that these grass species that we planted were actually here first, and they actually migrated over time to the Midwest, where these grasslands were established in the Great Range grasslands and so on. So basically, it was an informative call. I think we made a good connection with people that we can go to for further advice and consultation. And I was just really grateful that Tara and see Paula Williams, and actually another colleague of mine, Joanna Berger, who is a world-class ecologist, who's a Franklin resident, were on this call as well. And so it was all good. I think we're
Yeah.
trying to do
Thank
the
you
right
for setting
things,
that up.
and it's going to take some time. And one of the things I said is that, you have to, constantly respond to new situations and think through new situations, how you deal with new invasives. And it takes time and experimentation. It's not
Yeah.
something that you can develop a rigid plan that you pursue every year and expect to restore these grasslands in the way that we would like to have them restored.
Yep. Thanks for doing that, Chuck. That I think was really good. And a lot of, just so everyone knows, and I'm sure you all do, a lot of effort went into deciding how to really, properly do stewardship on the grasslands that they needed. So there was a lot of research that went in, a lot of extra time and effort. I know Anne Marie took time off of work. Chuck came and spent a lot of time setting up these calls. So I think it's really good. We appreciate it.
Tara, I would like to make a note that the way the mowing went on Griggstown grasslands was interesting, to say the least. They didn't mow. Most of the Griggstown grasslands were mowed. They were not able to take out some of the larger hardwood invasives. There are quite a few autumn olives left in areas. There are a number of ailanthus trees which are still there. I did notice, in fact, that there is a black walnut tree that survived, and I would hope that we would be able to keep that tree. That's a very valuable native tree, and I will chain my vicious three-legged dog to that tree if anyone tries to remove it. So, but one of the questions is whether or not we should think about taking out those larger ailanthus trees, which they were not able to go through. They used a different type of mower than what we expected. They're using flail mowers, which they're not like brush hogs, which have these blades that cut through the stem of the grass. These are actually rotating drums with many short Y-shaped flails attached to them on hinges. And basically what this type of mower does is chew up most everything that it goes in contact with. So it actually chews up the wood. It chews up most of the grasses, although some of the long-stem grasses just got knocked over. They were mowing very close to the ground, not at the recommended 6-inch level. It will be interesting to see what comes up as a result of that. But I was out there today, and things are greening up again. And there's actually lots of young milkweed sprouts that are coming up. They're about a foot tall, in fact, along with bugwort and a lot of poison ivy that's ground level. So, and I would also like to make a note that getting to the grasslands this afternoon was a little bit of a challenge. The road to the grasslands now has a new canyon, several new canyons in it that are actually deeper than the old ones. I was able to get my car through by sort of straddling the canyons, but it could be, let's say, treacherous for some smaller cars with with low ground clearance.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. All right, so I'll keep you all posted on how we proceed.
Okay, Tara, next item was the maintenance call. The updates on repairs.
Yeah, so the maintenance call had to be postponed this month because DPW is, working hard with the flooding, so it's gonna be next week.
Okay, and then the next was NJ Dep Trails Summit.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that the NJDEP is having a Trails and Greenways Summit, I think it's called. I'm just gonna put it up here so you can see. I signed up for it. It looked interesting, but anyway, it's virtual. It's gonna be the first ever Trails and Greenway Summit. And here's what it's about. So it's September 22nd and the 23rd. It's a free virtual summit sponsored by the Department of Transportation and DEP. And it's going to be looking at the creation of a robust trail and greenway network throughout the state. And they invite all these different types of groups to come, like short trails enthusiasts and municipal staff and planners and appointed leaders. So I thought it might be interesting. It's virtual, it's free. So if anyone's interested, I can send the link around. I just thought maybe you might like it.
I would be interested. What was the date again?
It's September 22nd and 23rd. It's virtual.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll try to check it out.
Okay, I'll send it to everybody then. I'm sharing still. Okay,
Thank you,
that was
Tara.
all.
That's for Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, do you want to go to old business?
Sure.
Possibilities for, prescribed burn at Negri Grasslands.
Yeah, we kind of already talked about it. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Hunting season.
Hunting season is starting on September 11th, this Saturday. We did the hunting lottery a little over a week ago, so the permits have all been sent out. There's signage going up, and it should be up already. I think the last of it went up today, basically showing where the areas are. So, just same hunting areas, except we did add the property that we obtained just a few months ago on County Route 518. That's been added into the hunting program for now. It's only it's basically completely wooded. So it's a good place to hunt, and it's in a busy area. That property, like I said, we just got our hands on it, but that's something, actually, I'll take a note on that. We're probably gonna want to look at that soon to talk about maybe the potential trail network in there, because it's a large property. Maybe that's something we could add to the PTP, or if not, we can at least, kind of talk about that. So maybe at the next meeting, I'll put a reminder to put that on the agenda. Put that on the agenda, like I'll remember what that is next month. Let me write what it actually is. Route 518 property trails. Okay. So yeah, right now everything is open, the grasslands and everything for this part of hunting season. So, and no hunting on Sundays. So same rules as last year.
Are the old signs down and new signs up?
They went out and we were putting the new signs up, and they were going to take the old signs down. So, yes, they should be. If you see any, let me know. But they should be, yes.
Can we request that, like, at the last, that they come down sooner next time? I'm just trying to think of how to get ahead of that.
Yeah, I can, actually, I have a list of notes for my monthly maintenance call, so I'll add that in there. So hunting signs, down, at end of February. Okay. That works.
Okay, anything else regarding hunting?
Mm-mm.
All right, then last item is updates previous grant work and status for North-South Trail.
Yeah, I have not really had any luck getting in touch with anyone there. I put out another email today, so I will keep following up and see what's going on, but I don't have anything to report on that. I kind of leave that on as a standing item in case, we're able to get some information on it. So nothing this month.
All right. Does anyone have anything else? I just have one thing. Tara, how about the application? I think, Vanessa, you have someone that wants to join the committee, and I think this has been going on for like, what, 6, 8 months or something?
Yeah, definitely. I think longer. It's been a year. Yeah. I met her on the 4th of July hike from 2 years ago. So I know, Tara, I kind of left it. I know you were in communication a bit. I'm not sure where things left off.
Yeah, so the last time I spoke to her, she said she would call me back because she was going through some things and would get back to me. Um, I haven't heard back from her since. So because I did ask her, did you submit the paperwork that you have to submit? And she didn't get back to me on that. So I can follow up with her again.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, she had told me that she had submitted it, but the township wasn't seeing it on their end. So I think that was the glitch.
I did ask about the township, and yeah, they did. They said they did not have it, and then I didn't hear back if she submitted or not. So she said she has submitted it.
Oh yeah, that's what she had told me a while ago before I reached out to you about it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and the township, they're saying we don't have it. So, okay. I'll try and follow up with her again. The last time we left it off, she said she was going to get back to me because she was, dealing with some things. So I'll follow up.
And then there was another young man who I had spoken with as well. So I can I'm not sure if he's still interested, but he was. So if especially if she doesn't follow through, I do have somebody else for us to if we wanted to consider as well.
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing is that the paperwork gets into the clerk's office so that they can get it on for approval. So yeah, if you happen to talk to him and he says, "Oh, I haven't submitted it, but I'm still interested," submitting it and then letting me know so I can send like the follow-up email and just say like, "Oh, please make sure this gets on," or, whatever.
And the clerk is Anne Marie, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Because I think I guess there's got to be, I don't say a follow-up, but at least a confirmation that the paperwork's been submitted and they've received it. So I guess,
Yeah.
I guess if they're going to submit the paperwork, they should follow up with it. Is that the best
Yeah.
thing to do? Follow up with Anne Marie?
Yeah. I'll follow up with Anne Marie. I just put it on my to-do list, so I'll follow up with her again and see, what's going on there.
Great, thank you. Anything else?
Any trail updates? I don't have one.
I do not.
Anyone? Bueller? Okay. Anyone want to close the meeting?
Sure. I guess I just wondered, has anybody been down? Like I tried to drive because I'm going into Trenton to the office a couple days a week, and I still can't go down Canal Road since Ida, obviously. So I don't know does anybody know how the Briggstown fared during the storm?
Well, like Chuck had said, like I saw the driveway going up it, and it now has, the water did damage to the road.
Swales in it and
Which
stuff
said to be
from all the,
repaired.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's too bad. I'll try and get there as soon as I can actually drive down the road. The road was still blocked at Sudam Road and Canal. There was still signs there and road blocked. So
You can get through from
Bunker Hill, maybe.
Butler Road. You could take Butler Hill Road or Bunker Hill Road over to Griggstown and get there. I've been there for the last 3 or 4 days. We've been working with the state park, clearing mud out of the mule tenders barracks and the visitor center there. We're
Wow.
pretty much done, but we're going to have to repair a lot of broken windows, and we're waiting on state park approval to do that. The road is blocked from the water treatment plant down to Butler Road. I saw it today. But I think most of the rest of Canal Road is now open. And if you do run into problems on Canal going south from Griggstown, you can always take Coppermine over to 518.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just wasn't sure where one could get to. Okay, well, at some point, we'll try and get over there and see how it survived. Thank you.
The water was up to the second to the last step on the stairwell in the mule tender's house. It almost reached the second floor.
Mm.
Wow, frightening.
And the woman who lives at the corner of the Causeway and Griggstown Road, her house was very badly flooded this time round. She made it through the 4-inch rain without a problem, but she's got all of her furniture out, and it doesn't look good.
Mm.
Yeah, the rain we're gonna get tonight is has me worried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
I mean, we could seriously get some more flash flooding.
Oh my
So the
gosh.
ground is so
By the way,
saturated.
we've lost a boat dock. We were working on repairing the boat dock at Kingston, and it actually got washed off in the first rain. And I went down and saw it, and we had managed to put a hand post on the dock. And when I first saw it, it was underneath the Route 27 bridge, being held by about 4 inches of the hand post.
Oh.
And when we got back later trying to secure it, the water level had dropped. It's washed down the canal, and we can't find it. We think it's actually sunk somewhere in the canal. So
There's something on the towpath, not too far from here, some big wooden structure on the towpath that got washed up. I don't know. Looks like something
we've
like
lost
that.
more docks than that. Actually, the dock at the Griggstown dock was actually flipped over and is on the other side of the towpath. The bridge at Griggstown was washed away. The metal bridge that goes from the parking lot to the towpath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's just carnage everywhere. And the DeMont Lane Bridge is blocked with logs and debris. The bridge held. It's still there, and it doesn't seem to be damaged. But we're trying to find out ways to get that cleared. But the towpath along the Raritan is seriously degraded. It's I tried to take my bike on it, and it's actually dangerous to ride a bike on because of the baseball-sized rocks and grooves and so on.
What section is that, Chuck? Like Demont Lane?
It's a section from the 287 lock going down to Landing Lane,
Mhm.
and I mean, there are other parts of the towpath are seriously degraded as well in other
It's gonna
sections
be
of town.
Big cleanup for sure.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion to close the meeting. Who'd like to do that? Unless there's anything else.
So move.
Second,
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.